There are several problems which can become apparent in fine turf grass due to the lack of water being taken up by the roots. Here we look at one of the most common causes. Dry patch is caused by a fungal growth below the surface which secretes a waxy deposit on the soil particles. These sticky deposits readily stick together and create a layer which effectively creates a barrier that prevents water draining down through to the deeper layers of the soil. The result is that the grass plant roots become starved of water. The plant becomes unhealthy, and we see the sort of effects at the surface as seen in the photograph. This layer, which is known as the hydrophobic zone, is just below the thatch. Crucially, the grass plant roots are much deeper in the soil core and, starved of water, the roots die and the grass is unable to take up the nutrients in the soil. Breaker Advance is specifically formulated to break up this hydrophobic layer at 1 to 3 inches below the surface. This allows the water to wet the soil to a deeper depth, allowing the roots to grow and the grass plant to flourish. By the use of dyes in water, we can see the hydrophobic areas in sampled soil cores. On the left, the water penetrates the soil evenly. On the right, several areas remain undyed, meaning the water has been unable to wet the soil in these parts. Any roots here would dry out and die, resulting in an unhealthy grass plant. Fairy rings on the surface are a clear sign of fungal activity below the surface, which can lead to dry patch. Sometimes, as seen in the photograph on the right, this can be severe. The waxy build-up on individual soil particles, in this case sand, can be seen here. The particle on the left is unaffected and has rough surfaces. On the right, however, we see an affected particle with a waxy coating. Such particles readily stick together and water cannot find a path down deeper into the soil core. When large areas are affected by dry patch, the entire subsurface can become a barrier to water. Water simply runs off the surface rather than down through the soil. Dry soils cannot be wetted because of the build-up of waxy lipids below. Only the thatch is wetted, but not the root zone. The effect of dry patch is clearly seen in the poor quality of the health of the grass. Here, grass plants have died as the roots have withered due to lack of water penetration. The problem will not resolve itself in time and requires intervention to both halt the progress of dry patch and reverse the process. The last slide of this section shows a technique used to determine the severity of dry patch and is called the water droplet penetration time. This directly measures the time taken for water to filter through the hydrophobic zone. The longer the penetration time, the more water repellent the soil. Placing a soil core on its side, water droplets are placed on the side of the core and the time taken for the droplets to filter through the soil is measured. Areas affected will either not allow or will hinder the water draining under gravity. In severe cases, the water droplets will remain beaded on the surface. New formulation Breaker Advance has all the advantages and properties of the earlier formulation, but contains an improved ability to re-wet the soil root zone, now almost completely eliminating all hydrophobic areas. Furthermore, the new formulation is longer lasting in its effects, providing a healthier soil structure, which is easier to maintain. Breaker Advance can be used for a number of water-related problems, whether biological or soil-related. Whilst fungal activity or disease may cause a hydrophobic layer, compaction due to excessive traffic or rolling may cause the root zone to be denied enough water for a healthy root. Or, where healthy soils in dry climates require regular watering, use of Breaker Advance can help the soil root zone retain water, keeping the soil moist for longer periods and reducing the need for mechanical watering. By combining 3 types of surfactant, Breaker Advance allows surface water to penetrate deep into the soil root zone quickly and for the effects to be more long-lasting. Even where rainfall is plentiful, Breaker Advance improves the drainage of surface water, preventing puddling. Breaker Advance is different from other wetting agents. Rather than bypass hydrophobic spots, the spreading agent wets the entire profile of the soil root zone, as can be seen on the right. This creates more wetted soil, which provides a healthier environment for improved root growth and ultimately a healthier plant. The spreading properties of Breaker Advance are particularly beneficial during light rainfall. As the water spreads over a wider area than with other wetting agents, more soil is wetted. The spreading agents allow the water to diffuse over a greater surface area. Additionally, during heavy rainfall, the ability to disperse the water helps to prevent water buildup and puddling. The depth to which a wetting agent can wet the soil is only one part of the solution. Water which bypasses dry spots may go deep, but roots within those dry spots will die. Breaker Advance's complete immersion technology re-wets the entire soil profile with the effect that all roots are watered. The grass plants are thus healthier than those where the root growth is limited. The chemistry which allows effective treatment of dry patch is due to the long chain molecule which connects the hydrophobic soil particles to the water molecules. The molecule is very stable, allowing the effect to be longer lasting. Healthy plant roots have access to the water for longer periods and are thus less likely to dry out. As the chemical bond is longer lasting, the effects of a program of treatments is cumulative. That is, a second application before the first one has come to the end of its useful life results in a cumulative process which builds up to a peak for the driest times of the year. Once the year turns to wetter weather, enough has built up to last the rest of the year without further application, saving time and money. The new formulation in Breaker Advance is a significant improvement in water penetration. Not only does it allow water to pass through the hydrophobic layer and into the soil root zone, it now penetrates to a depth increased by 22%. This means that the grass roots are not only healthier due to increased water supply, but can now grow to a greater depth to take advantage of the increased nutrients available in the root zone. The MED technique measures soil water repellency. The lower the MED value, the more effective the wetting agent. This graph shows a treatment program starting in May. The new Breaker Advance formulation is now even more effective than the previous formulation and gives an MED value of almost 0. New formulation Breaker Advance has, for the first time, almost totally eliminated water repellency, not only improving the appearance of greens, but also almost eliminating the cause of many water-related problems. In summary, new formulation Breaker Advance now provides an even more consistent and longer-lasting solution to water-related problems. As always, Rigby-Taylor products are extensively tested and the results verified by independent trials undertaken by third-party researchers. Breaker Advance is not only compared against situations where no wetting agents are used, but also tested against other standard products in the market. As the photographs show, Breaker Advance wets more evenly and to a greater depth. Breaker Advance is available in liquid, granular and tablet form for use on greens, fairways or for spot treatments where problems are localized. This provides users with cost-effective solutions, not only in terms of the amount of treatment used, but also in terms of flexibility of use. Treatments can be programmed or tailored for specific problems or for different parts of the course. The liquid formulation can be used either as a single season application or more ideally as a season-long program applied monthly. Breaker Advance Liquid has the additional benefit in that it can be two-way tank mixed with most products from the Rigby-Taylor Specialities range and the Microflow CX Liquid Fertilizer range to give great flexibility of use. The Breaker Advance granules are applied using a conventional fertilizer spreader. For spot treatment, use the specially designed hose end applicator, which ensures even distribution. Application is normally 1 tablet per green. Breaker Advance does not leach into other water sources and is safe to the grass. It is completely harmless to other soil microbes, which promote a healthy soil structure for the grass roots. Its 3-in-1 mode of action provides the longest lasting treatment with the highest level of performance in the turf grass industry. The product range and the range of methods of application makes Breaker Advance an extremely versatile as well as highly performing product. Safe for the environment and beneficial for the soil makes it the choice for professionals. New Breaker Advance is at the cutting edge of wetting agent technology. Free literature is available on all the Breaker family of products, as well as tank mixing recommendations and other products in the Rigby-Taylor range. This section shows 2 short videos demonstrating the effect of Breaker Advance on water-repellent soil. In order to demonstrate how rapidly and how effectively Breaker Advance works, we can use a container which has been filled with a hydrophobic loamy soil. Adding water shows how it simply beads up and does not soak into the soil. Adding more, we see that the water simply runs across the surface, potentially creating a puddle. Using the artificial stimulus of mixing does not cause the water to soak into the soil. Even with flooding, the water simply runs across the surface and will not wet the soil, which is left completely dry in many parts. Soil which is apparently wet remains dry as the water simply runs off it. Even when left to soak, only the thinnest of layers at the very top are wetted. All the soil below the surface remains dry. Repeating the same experiment, but this time adding Breaker Advance, we can see that the product immediately soaks into the hydrophobic soil, leaving clearly wetted patches. Adding more solution to the already wetted areas demonstrates that the soil absorbs even more solution. It does not run off. Mechanical intervention shows that Breaker Advance has wetted the soil thoroughly to the full depth. Adding more Breaker Advance shows that the untreated areas take up the solution and become wetted. Mechanical intervention again shows how rapid and complete the process is.